Hello there. Welcome to Kanosh B channel. You're sure going to love being here. Thank you for subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and turn on your notification button. We will be talking about how you can speak right and become a voice to be sought after. Then we will delve into life issues. It's a whole life journey, and I sure promise to make it worth your while. Thank you again for coming. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done that. And if you have subscribed, please share, like, and tell everyone about Kanosh B. It's your favorite channel, Kanosh B. Okay, so I'm Kanosh Betiko, that's the name. I'm here in Lagos, Nigeria, Ikorodu to be precise. Okay, so where did I start teaching? Unofficially, I'd say I'd been teaching for, say, over 10 years. So my mom started a school just when I finished the university. And I was supposed to go for NYSC. NYSC is National Youth Service Corps. It's a one-year mandatory service that we give to the nation after you finish your university education. It's compulsory. Yes.
It's compulsory
for every university graduate to go through the 1-year service. It's your service to the nation. So you are posted to any part of the country, and then you get to do work, maybe in schools, maybe in an organization. So it's like you're saying, thank you for giving me the opportunity to go through school. So it's your service year to the nation. So it's called the National Youth Service Corps. So I finished with school, and while I was waiting to be, enrolled for the National Youth Service Corps, that period, my mom started a school. So naturally, when she started a school, because I was a graduate, and I had to help her with, taking some of the classes. So I got introduced to teaching there. And then I went on for NYSC, got employed, and then I started working as a customer service agent, and so I left teaching. But when I got married, I had to change locations. So I moved to a more a more rural area, unlike the urban city where I was and where I worked. So where I moved to was a little bit rural, and the 70% of the jobs around here are teaching jobs. So I figured, okay. And I've always been someone who I've never really liked being a complete housewife, like just sit at home and do nothing. Like the whole idea freaks me out. Like, why would I just, I didn't like the idea. I don't fancy the idea of just sitting at home doing nothing. I think as a child, again, when I would always, when I finished secondary school, before I go into the university, I was always at home. So when I would always, everyone, mom's going out, dad's going out, and I'm telling them bye, and I just sit at home. So that year of sitting at home, I just told myself, you know what, nothing would ever make me have to, be the one to sit at home when everyone else, has gone out. So I could have just stayed after all. I was just newly married, but I figured, okay, one day I just got up and I strolled out in the area. I took a stroll, and then I saw a school, and I thought I saw the school, and I saw the fence. So I just kept walking with the mind that I would get to the entrance of the school. Unfortunately, I was walking in the wrong direction, and then it led me to another street. And then long and short, I just bumped into a school. So I walked in, and I saw the head of school, and I told him, are you in need of a teacher? Incidentally and coincidentally and luckily for me, they needed a biology and maths teacher. Their biology and maths teacher then was going to get married, and she was going to leave the area. So they needed a replacement for her. So I'm like, okay, fine. I can do this. I studied computer science, so I have a science background. I know I can do this. And they're like, okay, bring your CV. And, that's how I started.
So the compulsory service is in what you studied in university, or it is compulsory in education?
It's compulsory, not necessarily in what you've studied. You just have to serve your country. You could be posted to any area.
Oh,
regardless of what you studied. You could be posted to a school, you could be posted to a farm, you could be posted to any organization, regardless of what you studied.
okay. Wow. Well, I don't want to not say hello. Who do you have with you?
So uninvited, we have Joshua here. We didn't ask him to join this interview, but he's here already.
It's not alive, so it's a good thing. Hi, Joshua.
Say hi to Deanna.
Hi. So, when you got to the school, you were given your position as a biology and math teacher just like that because you were educated,
Yes.
but not trained as a teacher just because you
Have to
had a
do
good
what they call
CV.
micro teaching. And
Oops.
then
Okay, so your experience when you got there, were you like, oh my gosh, I'm now teaching a bunch of kids?
okay, so well, because I was already set up for it, like I knew this was what I wanted to do. There were secondary school students, what you call that would be grade 12.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I like to relate with the children that I deal with, and since they weren't very little kids, it was easy to flow with them.
And in general, how did you feel that first year just being thrown into the education system?
Well, I didn't feel like I was thrown in per se. Like I said, I had done it unofficially at my mom's school. So for me, and then I know that I've always wanted to have an opportunity to contribute my quota in the life of every child I meet, because I believe that children are, of course, they're the ones who would take up a lot of other positions when they become older. And whatever it is you instill in a child at a very young age, they grow with it and it becomes who they are. So I was excited to contribute my quota in that line, because for me, it was beyond just teaching biology and mathematics. You can't teach without once in a while putting in one or two moral values, ethical values, either with stories or something, something to always, help the child outside of the classroom. So for me, it was a good opportunity to be doing that to, children of that age.
And at that age, are they receptive of schooling? Are they receptive of your help as an educator, or are they at the age where they're just checked out and I'm ready to be done or go on to the university phase?
It's a mix. There are those who are level-headed and they want to listen to you. There are those who feel like just take your biology and mathematics and go. and and mind your business. Whatever I do with my life is not your business. So it's always a mix of both categories. But overall, I think that you're receptive, especially when you're a friendly person. They see that you're open. But when you bring in your disciplinary parts, it's almost like no, we don't want this. Young children, especially when they're teenagers at that level, they always want to have their way. And then, as much as you want them to have their way, you want them to be independent, you also want them to know that this is the way it is. I've been through this before, and this is how you should go. I don't want you to make unnecessary mistakes, but they would always have their way.
Always pushing boundaries. Oh,
yes.
Awesome. So would you say your mom, how did your mom influence you? I could ask a million questions that are not on our list of questions, but now knowing your mom started a school this kind of changes everything. Did she have a big impact on your decision or the experience you had at the school to come back to teaching, or was it just the walk that day that really struck you?
I'd say she did, because if apart from the fact that she's also a teacher, if she hadn't started the school, I probably wouldn't have had the first experience teaching children. And I probably maybe never would have thought of taking up a position. I probably would have gone on looking for some other kind of jobs around me other than, teaching. But because I felt, okay, I've done this before and I think I enjoyed it, I can also use the opportunity to, do it again. So I'd say yes, she had a very positive influence in that regard.
Okay, then second question. What was your dream before the dream to become a teacher? If you had to.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. If I had one, because every time I hear what was your dream as a child, what was your dream this, and I'm like, okay, dream. Did I have a dream? I felt like I was just a child and I was just being a child. I don't remember dreaming about being anything other than other than maybe as very little children we were with our grandparents, and I know that because we used to speak our dialects. My grandfather had this television, and at 7 p.m. the national news would go up, and then they'll take the national anthem, and as little kids we would just stand in front of that TV and try to mimic the children that were singing the Nigerian national anthem, because we couldn't sing it, we didn't understand English.
Okay.
So we would just stand there and wonder, what are these children singing? We would just be looking like, arise, O compatriots, Nigerians. I know it now, but I didn't know it then. And then they'd finish, and then they'll just reel out the national pledge. I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest. And for me, it was like magic, because the local school we were going to as children, we sang the national anthem. We were taught the national anthem and the pledge all together as a song. And of course, as little children who were just learning English and then, basically speaking in the dialect, we weren't getting the words right. So every time before the news, when that national anthem went up, it was like we would just gather there and just being, oh, wow, what are they singing? And then when they just start reading, I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest, to serve Nigeria with all my strength, I'll just be looking like. So maybe at that point, if I ever had a dream, it was to be able, to speak English like these people inside this box, and to like recite the national anthem fluently. If there was ever such a thing as a dream at that level, I think I must have been around 4, 5, or 6. That probably was my dream at that level at that time. So if anyone would ask me, maybe as a child at that level, that was it. And then of course, fast forward, I left the village, and then I came to Lagos. Growing up, I learned to speak English, and then I got into school proper. And so maybe after I got into school proper, probably as a teenager, I began to watch Mo Abudu's Moments with Mo. She's the CEO of Ebony Life TV. So she had this program she used to do then, Moments with Mo. And I'll just sit there and just watch her. And I'll just imagine myself that, okay, someday I'm going to have a show on TV where I get to interview people, So if there's a dream again, probably that was it. I haven't actualized that dream yet. Maybe we're actualizing it now because you're interviewing me anyway.
There we go.
So I'd still love to own that radio station someday. So I'm not just a radio station, a TV station, beyond just owning, because now she's gone on to have a TV station. She produces movies. And I look at her sometimes and I'm like, okay, so I can go. When I was watching her then, I wanted to, host a program on TV. Now I see a lot more she has done, and I'm like, it goes beyond hosting a program. You can even own the station yourself. And thank God for technology. With YouTube, you can literally do anything and put anything out there. So vis-a-vis, maybe we are living part of the dream, but not the full one.
Exactly, though. I mean, that really is what technology has done, is it's given us a chance to take the dream, and people are producing music now with GarageBand that you don't even,
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. And there are so many things that are so much more convenient and possible because of I saw you studied broadcasting, so I'm glad you've kind of tied that in, because I wondered with teaching and with broadcasting and studies, and man, what a journey. And this thing is trying to go to sleep on me. Okay, third question. Where did you first start teaching? We already did. What did you notice when you got to teaching at the second school, not at your mom's school? Did you have any a different experience? They were in different locations, no?
Okay, so the first thing that hit me was that the children had changed. As a child, my response to education, like my attitude to school was, this is school. I went to a boarding school. So when I'm leaving home, I'm going to school, and I know that school is serious business. And here I was standing in front of these children, and sometimes you're literally looking for ways to beg them to pay attention. And I'm like, I grew up knowing that school is serious business. What is wrong with you? Why are you treating school like it's an option? You're like, well, whatever happens, I don't really care. I mean, you should care. This is your first, okay, maybe not first, after the primary education. This is your second level. And if you want to further to the university, this is about the most important stage of your life. You should take it as serious as you can. Why? So that was the first challenge I had, trying to get these children to understand that, see, life is serious. As much as we want to play, you cannot totally play around where education is concerned. You have to take it seriously. For me, it was a huge blow. It hit me hard. I couldn't just wrap my finger around why a child would not take education seriously, because of where I was coming from, the no English to then English. And so I was fascinated, and I really wanted to learn. I wanted to see that, but I don't think I saw that a lot. I didn't see that in a good number of the children.
So do you think that now teachers are catering to that disinterest that the students have, and really forcing themselves to be a different kind of teacher that kind of tries to attract the students into something that's more fun? Or does it change the demeanor of the teachers?
Yes, I think things are changing. We're seeing now that there's a lot of distraction. And so if you want these children to concentrate, and if you want them to love whatever it is you're presenting to them, then you have to find better ways. So we're introducing technology, we're introducing several other teaching methodologies, using outside of classroom experiences, real life experiences, and getting the child involved. Unlike before, when the method was more teacher-centered, where you just come and you're like the Lord and all knower of everything, and you're just trying to pour. Now it's an interaction. So you give the 70% most of the time, and as much as you can, try to balance it. Make sure the child is involved. So when a child is involved in the process, you find that it's easier to impart knowledge.
True. Okay, so fast forward for a sec. What are the biggest challenges that you think your students face now? Is it that internal, I could care less about education, or is it something else?
Now I think they have a lot more distraction. Technology. There's YouTube, there's TikTok. They have a lot more distraction. To be honest, and to be fair on them, they have a lot more distractions and a lot more trouble. Because of where the world is going. So they are having to also grapple with a lot of external factors, and it's affecting their own mental health. And you need to be mentally balanced to learn.
True. Okay, so possible solutions to that? I mean, is it the parents' fault? Should we be the ones in the schools telling the kids, hey, we know your parents don't really tell you how to control yourself with your distractions, but your parents don't know anything, and you should be more disciplined? Or like, what is the solution there? Are there solutions?
Well, I think we could just, do our bit, but the parents also have to do their bit. But we cannot just, it's wrong for you as a teacher to, tell the child that your parents don't know what they're doing and just trying to help you shape your life. They are trying to destroy you, so we can't outrightly come out to say your parents don't know what they're doing, but we just find a way to say, you know what? That's why there's more empathy now with teaching. For instance, a child comes into the class and you see they look moody. Before now, I don't really care how you look, it's your business. You teach and you move on. But today, you would want to find out from the child what happened. And sometimes when you draw them close, you discover they've had other issues. Like they're coming with a backload of issues, and you just find a way to pacify them. If it's something you can solve, for instance, a child comes and they're hungry, they've not eaten, you can easily offer them maybe some money so they can get something to eat. So if it's a problem you can solve, you try as much as possible to solve it, and then so that teaching can work or something. And so that's the relationship.
Okay. And the parents at your school, do you feel like most of them are invested? I mean, at least the ones who come to the meetings or the forum are invested in their kids' education.
Yeah, well, I'd say 50-50.
Not bad. What would get the parents more interested in their kids' education?
I wish I could answer that now, because I, as a parent, I'm heavily interested in my kids' education. I'd like to know what you did in school. Where your strong points are, where your weak points are. So I may not be able to answer for other parents who seem aloof. Some of them, though, who are not as educated, do not understand. So it's not their fault. Some actually are vested in their children's education, even though they are not educated. You see that they have the zeal to want the child to also be educated, so. And then some who are, forgive me, say half-baked, they have some form of education, but not very solid, and they try to want to make demands, and you're like, no, these things don't happen like that anymore these days. So you always have to,
Okay. What do you think your students' strengths are? Like, what do you think they're really good at doing in school?
Oh, they're good at troublemaking.
That's fair.
But collectively, like I said, every child is unique. Every child is unique. So I have children who are really good with the arts. There's a particular child. The problem I always have with him is, you're drawing like all the spaces in his books, he's drawn one thing or the other. My challenge is, will you just come? You'll be able that. So every child has their own unique abilities, but collectively, I'd say that you see that they are eager to learn. Yes, they are eager to learn. Whenever you post, you're explaining something, they all almost always listen with rapt attention. They'll always be the ones who would, want to, play smart and be funny once or twice, but there's always the rapt attention to want to get new information.
So we have 5 minutes before we get cut out. I want to, since the kids are here, did you notice anything changed when you did become a mother in your teaching style, or in the way that you showed up at school? Or I assume it changed your entire outlook on life, no?
It did. It changed everything. It changed everything. Like literally everything changed. I had to, having to now manage being a mother, and then combined with work and everything, so sometimes you get to school and it's not even before you get to school. You wake up and you're not ready to show up, but you just have to show up. And this time around, they're not showing up. It's just, muster the strength to get everybody ready and then show up. And then you get there, you have a bunch of students who are coming with their own load of whatever it is must have been dumped on them from their home. So what I do is I just take time to relax.
Good.
I relax and
I'm going to tell her to her home with her own kids. On Saturdays, she hosts a book club for students from different schools in her city. And my next question is how that got started, how she decided to start bringing kids in on Saturdays to her own home to give her free time and her own resources, paying for their books, and how she decided on what kind of material to use, and just the whole shebang. Would love to get the details.
I've always wanted to give back to the society. And then around here, we always hear things like children don't read, children don't read, children don't read. And I'm like, okay, children don't read, children don't read, children don't read. Okay. So in 2017, I decided, okay, you know what? It's been on my mind. Let me just do it. So I put together some money, bought some books, and went around schools and gave out books to children, secondary school children. Gave out books. I think I wanted to give out 1,000 books. I think I ended up giving out about 300 books the first time. So the response, I had children always